We turn now to this country's continued failure to find a solution to the rampage of gun violence here. But now city officials in San Jose, California, think they have found a novel solution that can pass muster with the Second Amendment and could be used as a template across the country, requiring gun owners to buy liability insurance as a way to push for the safer handling of their weapons.
We begin with breaking news. Own a gun in San Jose and you will need insurance. In the past 30 minutes, the city passed a first of its kind nation gun law. Gun owners will have to pay an annual fee and keep liability insurance.
So to learn more about this, we're joined now by the mayor of San Jose, Sam Liccardo. Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. How will this legislation work? How it will prevent gun violence?
Brian, good to be with you. There are two components to this ordinance. One would require every gun owner to have insurance, just as any driver needs to have insurance to drive in any state. The second would require all gun owners in our city to pay a small fee, $25 annually. That would be paid to a nonprofit foundation which would invest those dollars in gun violence prevention strategies, evidence-based approaches ranging from suicide prevention and mental health to domestic violence reduction and gun safety classes. We think by making these strategic investments, particularly targeting those residents who live in homes in which a gun is owned, that's the best way to get at the tremendous risk involved in gun ownership in this country.
Mayor Liccardo, last May there was a terrible shooting in San Jose, 9 people killed, plus a 10th a gunman. Would this legislation in any way prevent that from happening?
Well, I can't pretend to know that we could prevent a horrible tragedy. We know that no ordinance is going to magically make a gun fall out of the hands of someone who is on a rampage, who's intent on causing mass harm like that. But we'd certainly like to have the chance, if we could roll back the tape a year or 2 years, to be able to have mental health services provided to somebody who owns a gun who's clearly having issues, as this gunman in particular had palpable evidence of very serious mental health issues that his coworkers and in fact even the U.S. Customs Service observed. You know, this is something that we don't have resources for. Like most cities, we don't actually run the health departments in our counties. We'd love to be able to have resources to invest in those kinds of interventions.
Mayor Liccardo, a question for you from Rhonda Schwartz. Rhonda?
Gun rights groups have said this is absolutely preposterous idea, and they're promising to sue you, Mayor. What do you make of their reaction, and how are you going to go up against that?
Well, the reaction is more or less what we anticipated. We've had a lawsuit already. We know that to file a lawsuit in this country means exercising your Seventh Amendment rights, and you have to pay a fee at the courthouse steps to file that complaint. Similarly, for a newspaper to publish a story about this event, many of those newspapers pay taxes, and that has been upheld by the Supreme Court. The mere fact that it's a constitutional right doesn't mean it can't be regulated or there can't be a fee that attaches. The question is whether we're creating barriers that are too burdensome in the exercise of that right. I'm confident this is a very, very modest fee and certainly not going to impair anyone from exercising the constitutional rights in this country. You know, we certainly have a Second Amendment that protects the right of every American to own and possess a gun, but it doesn't require every taxpayer to subsidize the exercise of that right. And right now, that's exactly what we're doing. In California, we're spending $1.4 billion on the public costs of responding to gun harm.
Mr. Mayor, if you are successful here, this is upheld by the courts, this could be a template for the rest of the country.
Well, we hope that other cities and states will, in fact, engage in this kind of policy. We want insurance companies to get involved because we see how effective that has been in reducing deaths, for example, with regard to auto accidents. Over 5 decades, we've seen 80% drop in auto-related fatalities because people have been encouraged to buy cars with anti-lock brakes or airbags. And we have good driver safety discounts. You know, through utilizing risk-adjusted premiums, insurance companies can encourage safer behavior. And we need that in a country with 4.5 million children that live in a home where a gun is kept unlocked and loaded. And we know that gun safes and trigger locks and gun safety classes could go a long way to making those homes much safer and preventing a lot of harm.
With so many guns in this country, you're up against a huge task in trying to get gun safety laws passed.
You're right. We have a country with more than 300 million guns, and we're not going to magically make everyone safe with any ordinance or statute. What we're hoping is to make gun ownership safer. We're not going to take guns away from anyone. No one has to fear of big bad government getting involved here. What we're trying to do is make strategic investments with public money that can reduce harm and encourage the private sector in the form of insurance companies to incentivize safer behavior.
All right, Mayor Sam Liccardo of San Jose, California, thank you so much for being with us here this evening.
It's great to be with you, Brian. Thank you.
All right. We asked the National Association of Gun Rights to have someone appear here tonight with the mayor, but we did not hear back from them. Well, up next, this week's winners and losers, two losers in the media, two very big losers. You're watching Brian Ross Investigates on the Law&Crime Trial Network.
Hi, this is Dan Abrams with exciting news for all of our Law&Crime followers on YouTube. You can now get the live Law&Crime network with YouTubeTV for all of your daily live trial coverage, legal news, expert analysis, and original true crime programs. Subscribe to YouTubeTV today and then locate Law&Crime in the channel guide. And for only $1.99 a month, you can add the network to your bundle. Watch Law&Crime every day with YouTubeTV. We put you in the jury box.